So in the word processing part of the G Suite exam, you're going to be expected to be able to define Docs, Google Docs, and identify a variety of uses for it in the school setting, access Docs from the app launch icon, create and share Google Doc files, share files, be able to distinguish between owners versus editors, commenters versus viewers, learn how and actually be able to share documents with others in a variety of ways. Add documents, add comments, create a new document, name or rename your document, and create a copy of your document. In addition to that, you'll also have to be able to enable others to make a copy of a document, reference someone in a comment, so they get an email notice of that comment, revision history, saving GDocs as Word or PDF files, and the Explore tool. So there's quite a bit of things to know how to do in word processing with GDocs, but that certainly makes sense because we spend a lot of time in Google Docs. So let's go ahead and take a moment to get into Google Drive. And of course, you'll notice that I'm actually jumping straight into Google Drive because that is the place to start, as I shared in a previous video. However, others may prefer to just go straight to Docs, and you can do that by typing in docs.google.com, and this will bring you to the Docs interface. Notice that when you get to the Docs interface, you have access to a variety of templates and things like that. And if I'm working in Drive, I can also click on my app launch icon, which some people call a waffle, and just look for Docs icon. And you can see it's this blue with little white lines on it. I can click on Docs, and that will bring me to the same place that I was at earlier with all these different template galleries or templates in the gallery. So there's a lot of possibilities here that you can access, and but I still like to go straight to Drive. And the reason for that is that I like to be able to just create a new folder and organize all my docs in one place. So for example, if I know I'm going to be using Google Docs for memos, I can create memos. Um, I can also use it for shared lesson plans. So if you're a classroom teacher and you want to be able to share lesson plans with other folks in your um, grade level or department team, you can use it for lesson plans. Some people use it for what are something called hyperdocs, and I've actually included a link down here to hyperdocs. Um, and hyperdocs are sort of inquiry-based lessons that are entirely based in Google Docs. You can use Google Slides and things like that, but let me see if I can quickly pull up an example here for you. So here's a science hyperdocs. These are just this is a Padlet that's going to give us access to a variety of hyperdocs. But I'm just going to come over here to Friction Hyperdoc, and you'll notice that we get a view-only version of this doc, but this is actually a document that we can edit and work in. And if I wanted to make a copy, I could just come in and click on Make a Copy and use it. I'm not going to do that right now because my focus here is really just to show you some of the different ways that Google Docs is being used in a school setting. But as you can see, it can be used for a lot more than just traditional memos, letters, lesson plans, and letters that we might send home to parents. It can also be used as inquiry-based documents that engage students and sort of align to the 5E model. So lots of possibilities, and you can access all of those resources in that my Educator Level 1 resources. We've also included additional bits of information down here in the Tech Notes. And so when you go to the TCA Tech Notes, you'll find one of the first articles is 5 Google Doc hacks. And it sort of talks about some really cool ways to organize and keep yourself going with Google Docs. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the aspects that you might encounter on the exam. As you can see, there's access docs from the app launch icon. So we've talked about that already, but remember Whenever you're in G Suite, up here in the top right hand corner, you should see the little waffle iron, and that's your portal to all of these different parts and tools of the G Suite. Now, when you're one of the challenges for folks that are maybe just starting out with Google Docs is understanding how everything works in the Google Drive environment. So I encourage you to watch the Google Drive video. But one of the easiest things you can do is just come up here to New and come down to Google Docs. And when you click on Google Docs, if you're creating in a shared folder, that means that everybody will be able to see it. So usually this will sort of emphasize this for you. So create and share. And what I've done is created a blank word processing document. This is a resource that I can type in, and I can come in and change the title by going up to the top left. So this might be a memo. Um, going to make that up. And notice that I have an outline view over here. So it says that any headings you add to the document will appear here. We'll sort of explore that in just a second. But once you create a Google Doc, you can put lots of content here. You can insert pictures, and you can also search the web for those pictures. So I'm just going to quickly type in ocean. And now I have a picture that's been inserted here. I can adjust that, and if I wanted to, I could also come in and insert a table to help organize this. As you can see, this is really just a essential word processing document that we can use. Um, the main benefit, of course, is that you're not just limited to um, working within Google Docs. Let's say that you wanted to um, export documents, you could do that. So I have this memo, I can pretty much type something up, but I could come over here to File, and if I wanted to, and download this document that I'm typing in Google Docs as a Word document. And if you're in an Office 365 environment where you want to do that, you can do that. There's also Open Document Format, which allows you to use it with LibreOffice, rich text format, PDF documents, plain text, and EPUB. So essentially, you and your students can actually create electronic books or ebooks and save them as EPUB. There's a great blog entry on that over at the TCA Tech Notes. For right now, though, let me go ahead and type in just some quick information, because I want to be able to share this document with other people and have them work on it. Okay, so I'm just going to just quickly um, now, as I mentioned before, I can highlight uh, a set of words and make it a heading. And as soon as I make it a heading, you'll notice that in my outline view, it actually shows up there. So winter break is now a heading. And if you're like me, sometimes you just don't like the way that the headings look. So you can adjust them, and then you can highlight them. And what I'd like to do is just come in here and say update heading 1 to match. Now anytime that I choose um, heading 1, it's going to make a heading look just like this. Actually, it'll probably look more like the break. So let's try spring break and you'll see what I mean. Come up here, choose heading 1, and of course it gives it that look. So just a very quick way to create a sort of a navigation guide for long memos as well as other documents, and you can work with that. Now, one of the fun things about this is being able to share it with other people. So there are several ways that you can share a Google Doc with others. Now, one easy way is to go to File and Publish to the web. And your intent when you publish to the web is really to make this accessible by anyone. So when you click on Publish, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to publish this selection? You say OK, and it gives you this really long link. But now I can take that link, open up a fresh browser, and drop that, and I will see a version of this um, document as it would be seen by others looking at it in their browser. So if I wanted to, I could use a short URL shortener to shorten the link, maybe something like bit.ly or tiny URL, and that would allow me to share a very shortened address with people. And this is great for announcements and things like that. Of course, the people that I share this with would not be able to edit or change this. So that's the benefit of File Publish. You're essentially creating a web page that others can view, but they are not able to modify. Now, what you can do is come up here to share, the little share button up in the top right hand corner. It's a blue button, and you have the option to share with a variety. Now, Google will, by default, uh, ask you to share within your particular environment. So if you're in a school district, it's going to say that school district there, and it's going to give everybody view rights. If you want to change that, you can give them commenting rights. That means they can view it and comment. Or if you want them to collaborate with you on something, then it would be anyone at your district with the link can edit, comment, and view. So we're going to choose edit, and this means that anybody in the district would be able to. Now there are times though that you need to be able to share with anyone with a link, and this means this is what you would share with other people that are outside the school district. Perhaps you're working on a special project with youth advocacy or youth reading group or club. Maybe they send in people to your classroom as interns, and you want to be able to share a schedule with them. So to do that, you would say anyone with a link, and this would mean that anyone would be able to view it. You get a bit of a different view. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I'm going to hit save and copy that link. Now, when I open a fresh browser window and paste in the link, notice that I have this view approach. Of course, I'm actually logged in. Let me open up a incognito window. If you haven't used an incognito window, this is a way to log in and where you're not, even though you're maybe logged in, it will prevent, it will act as if you're not logged in. So you can see here that where before I might have had to edit rights, now I can't. So this is what people actually see. They're able to see very clearly that this is a Google Doc, and they may have permission to download that file and work with it. They have view only rights. They can only view it. And you have to be logged into a Google account to request edit access. So the person would have to sign in with their own Google account to get access to this document. Now, while that is convenient, sometimes we want to be able to allow people to, anyone with the link can edit. And this is even nicer because you can really collaborate with anyone. And a lot of people worry, well, my gosh, I'm sharing this and anybody's going to be able to go in there and destroy it. But fortunately, Google has created something called version history. And so now you'll notice that I have a blinking cursor, even though I'm in incognito mode. I can actually come in here and um, type in stuff. I'm just making this up. I'm not sure what the dates are exactly. And so now I've added my piece to that. If I close this, my incognito window, and come back to the document that I'm working on, you can see that the change is there. Now, even if someone adds something terrible or awful, I can always come over here to File and see Version History. And this will show me the different versions that are available. So here's obviously the blank page where I started, and then here is where changes were made on a particular date. And I have even more finely grained controls. Here's actually the last change that I made, and then the next change that's there, which is the current version, is the change that was made by uh, that I made in incognito mode. So really powerful that you can do all of this and access it. Now, there are some other neat things about version history that I'm not going to go into, but you're actually able to, well, let's go into it. Why not? Let's say I wanted to give this particular version a name. I could say uh, best version. And so now when I look at my revision history, you will see that I have actually given it a name and it appears as best version. So now it doesn't matter. Someone could come in and make additional changes to this. Let me just open up a new incognito window again, and that way it will appear as changes from anonymous. Okay, so there we go. We've got I've made some changes as anonymous. I mean, it's because I'm in incognito. When I come back to my own account, I will see that I have those changes there. And so now I can just come in and choose heading 1, and it will show those up. So I have winter break, spring break, summer break. And that's just some very quick ways to do that. Now, it's also kind of fun to be able to share documents with other people. And let me go ahead and add people by name. And this is if you really don't want to use this anyone with a link. Uh, so you might want to just say, I just want to share this with specific people. I don't want to share it with the whole world. And this is great if you're working with a grade level team and you just want to share it with other people on your team and maybe the principal, or add the principal on later so they can only have view rights, or maybe only comment rights. So I'm going to add um, my personal account here. Please add some information to this document. Okay, I'm going to click on send, and because this account is a personal account, it's not in the organization, it's going to give me this message. It's going to say, are you sure you want to share this? I'm going to say yes. And now it's been shared with another person. And so if I log in to my personal account in another browser, I actually can see what's happening. So now as you can see here, I'm still over here working on stuff, but a new icon has appeared, and this is my personal account, and I can come in here and say, and so I've gone ahead and dropped in an additional paragraph at the bottom. And as these changes have actually been added by this particular user, which of course is me, but it's actually my personal account. If I go to my file and look at my version history, I can see the current history. You can see here's my best version. Uh, right now I have the November 14th at 10:50 a.m. version, but if I click on best version, that's not there, that paragraph that I added. And what's really kind of neat is I can just jump back and forth between these. If I want to, I can put in feedback from team. And now I have um, two versions that I can jump back and forth from. I can see what it was without feedback, and then I can see feedback from the team. So this makes it pretty easy to just sort of jump back and forth, and I really like that idea of doing that. Now, sometimes you want to be able to get specific comments from folks. So if I come up here and I say, we'll be breaking for the following holidays, let's say I wanted to add a comment to that. So I don't know if you can see it, but right over here on the right hand side, there's add a comment. I click on add a comment, and I'm going to say at mgulen@gmail.com. And notice it pops up assigned to mgulen@gmail.com, and I'm going to say yes, please do. Please update this paragraph as well with the latest info. When I click assign, this comment is now there, and if you could see it on my other document, it actually has shown up as a yellow highlighted comment, and I have the option to sort of respond to that. So as watch right here, you'll see that my response will appear in just a moment. And this is, I mean, pretty much in real time. It's popped up that what would you like me to write? And then I can just, you can have a whole little conversation here. And then, so at a certain point, I can just come up here and say, okay, this is enough. I can do this and mark it as done and hide the discussion, or the person I'm having a back and forth can do this. But again, all of this is easy. All you have to do is type in that plus sign and then the name or the email address of the person you're trying to get in contact with and assign stuff to, and they will be able to do that. So this has been resolved, and that comment just disappears. So it's not really an issue there. Now, as you can see, I did put a title up here, and even if I were to close this document appears now right here. I can come to Memo Vacation Days. If I wanted to rename it or do lots of other things with it, you can see that I can do that all through this right-click menu. So I right-clicked on the file in Google Drive, and if I choose Preview, it's going to show it to me real quick. I can also say open this in Google Docs, which is the same as just double clicking on it. I can also choose to share this document. So if I wanted to share it with others, I could also click on advanced, and it would give me pretty much the full menu set. Here's the anyone with a link, public on the web, etc. Oh, let me talk a little bit more about the sharing there. Under advanced, you'll notice that there is a prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. One question that came up during training was, can I share a document with a student and then prevent them from adding other students to that document so they can to stop them from maybe cheating or collaborating? And the answer is it's kind of hard to stop kids from working with each other, no matter what activity it is. But if you wanted to prevent the student from sharing that document with another student, then you would want to put a check mark here. And that would prevent them from adding any more people to it. You can also have the option of disabling download, print, and copy. So this makes it very difficult, or if not impossible, to copy content. They can take a screenshot, but it adds a little bit more. Yeah, it takes a little bit more effort and time to do that. The as you can see here, if once I choose Save Changes, now these changes have been applied, and um, I can go through and if when I open that document, um, all of the changes I've made are still here. I can come again and choose to download as, and I can download this as a Word document, but all this is really doing is making a copy of the document and saving it to my computer. So it's not the actual document itself, it's a copy of the document. So any changes I make on the copy are not going to appear on the original here in Google Drive. It's an important distinction to keep in mind that if you're going to be collaborating with someone, you'll probably want to share this document with them online, and then they'll be able to access and make changes just the way I was a little bit earlier. Now, I've talked a little bit about some of the different things. There's if you were to go through each of the menus, you would see there's quite a few more options. The ability to insert images and tables and drawings and charts. And one of the neat things that I like about being able to insert all of these is that if you have a Google Sheet, you can actually insert a chart from a Google Sheet, and that chart will be updated live every time you change the data in the sheet. That's pretty cool. So I'll have to make sure to put that in the video for Google Sheets. So you can also insert horizontal lines, footnotes, special characters, header and page numbers, things like that. So just be aware of that. Now, I mentioned earlier that we have this outline view, and you're probably wondering, why would you want an outline view? Well, in a longer document, it can get pretty cumbersome to have to deal um, with trying to keep track of where you're at. So I'm only on a single page document, but if I click on summer break, you notice how the cursor jumped down there. If I click on spring break, the cursor is just going to bounce me around the screen. That can be a real time saver, especially if you're on a longer document. And sometimes we want to be able to insert what's called a table of contents. And with a table of contents, even in a short document, you can see I have page numbers with that table of contents and things like that. So these are just different ways to sort of organize um, your document. And now you can see I've got summer break, winter break, table of contents, and I can jump back and forth. So it's just a very easy way to navigate. Now, one other tool that I want to sort of share with you um, is down here in the bottom right hand corner. There's this little star icon, and it's the Explore menu. So when I click on Explore, you'll see that it gives you just some additional stuff. So right here it says school holiday. So when I click on school holiday, it'll say, what are the school holidays in 2018, 2019? So it's essentially doing a Google search and showing me the results. I can also click on images and it's going to show me relevant pictures, so that if I wanted to add these pictures into my document, I could do that. And then if in my drive I have anything that's relevant to school holidays, maybe I already have everything identified, I could include that and drop it in. So that is most of what you will encounter probably as you're thinking about Google Docs. We haven't really talked about the editing bar, but you've seen me use it. I can come in and highlight different parts of it. I can choose to use my formatting. Uh, I can change the text, the size. I can bold and italicize and things like that. Now, another aspect here that might be worth knowing is, let's say that you've been working on a document and you decide that you're not the owner anymore. You don't want to be the person who owns this, you just want to contribute. So maybe you've decided this is better done by your school principal. So you can tell your school principal, hey, I've got a document already created. It's got most of the data information that you need. You know what? I'd like you to be the owner. So you see right here where it has the list of who has access. Right now it has one of my school account as the owner, but I've decided that I want to make my personal account, let's pretend that's the principal, the owner. So then I could come in and say, oh, is owner, and now once I hit save, this user will be the owner and I'll just become an editor. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel because I'm not quite ready to do that. Another thing that I can do is I can set expiration. Let's say I wanted to share something with a colleague or someone else, but only for a set amount of time. So I can click on set expiration, and I can choose to have access expire in 7 days, 30 days, or I can include a custom date. So let's say that I want it to expire on Saturday. Um, Let me see, back up here. As you can see, as I choose the custom dates, it's actually going to do that. So in this scenario, its access will expire on Saturday, which is 3 days from now. When I click on Save Changes, now there you'll see this little clock that appears, and people won't be able to. This person won't be able to access this document after that time. That's just a quick overview of what you'll be expected to do in Educator Level 1. And so I hope that's been helpful to you. I do want to encourage you to come down here and click on the Tech Notes, because in the Tech Notes I have this blog entry on 5 Google hacks, or 5 hacks for Google Docs, where it talks about enabling headers in Google Docs, table of contents, document outline, how to show it, how to insert that chart I was mentioning, and also how to insert a YouTube video, which is something that folks sometimes ask about. Thanks for watching.